Sup team, how we going? Welcome again to the sort of Kiwi show, aka Origins. Just another one of one of these digital sort of like Zoom meetings. Getting quite comfortable with these after we've been doing a lot of these face to face. But it's always cool just to chop it up and have a conversation anyway. So got a special guest on the other side of the line. Envioso, what's up, bro?
What up, what up? Kia ora koutou katoa, what's up?
How
It's
you
your boy
going?
Envioso,
Awesome.
aka self-sufficient, aka the boy who don't give a shit, aka lovable chap. Kia ora, kia ora.
Excellent. Awesome, bro. Like honestly, like welcome along to the show, bro. And it's gonna be a cool one just to chop it up and a little bit of context for a lot of other people. Like we kind of like met each other through 59 seconds. And I just had a huge amount of respect for all the grind and particularly a lot of the beats that you're like putting up on there and they're just super fire. And it was
Thank you.
only seemed right just to build on this platform as well, bro.
Thank you so much, man. And I've actually connected with a lot of people through your guys' platform as well. People showing interest in my beats, so it goes both ways, man. It's, it's been
Facts.
it's been fruitful. It's been a
Yeah.
fruitful connection.
Bro. And it's like particularly like in the recent times, in the recent lockdown, like you've been doing those artist producer chats as well. And now it's kind of another thing that caught my eye, particularly what you're doing, is not only the musicality standpoint, because you're not only a producer, um, you're MC as well, right? And vocalist. And then also like doing your thing in terms of actually like documenting the scene, which is a huge amount of
Yeah,
respect.
you could say what do they say? A jack of all trades, master of none.
Bro. But like, when did that all
Yeah,
get started for you, bro? Like, because I'm self-sufficient. Like, that's been around for like 2015, eh?
yeah, and it actually how that came into inception was through one of my other music mates, Impact, which I should acknowledge on this as well. He started the self-sufficient thing, and that it's when it was a baby when it started, it was actually a hip hop crew that was the birth of self-sufficient, and so that's how that got started. But in terms of me and my own creativity, um, I was first exposed to it. I think when I was like a little kid, my auntie would be because I grew up. My grandmother brought me up, so I
Yeah.
got raised by my grandmother, and so she had my auntie, my mum's sister, lived with us as well, who wasn't as much older as me, and she had her music playing down the corridor, and I think that's where I first got exposed. She had like Tupac, Biggie. You're talking hitters from the '90s, Bone Thugs, Fugees, Lauryn Hill.
All the classics, bro.
Those who know will know. Yeah, and so I think that's how I got exposed to it, unbeknown to me, because I was only young. But I'm looking back in retrospect. Um, I would say, yeah, that's how I got to know hip hop. My auntie was just booming it. She had all the CDs, had the CD player. She had the
Uh,
full spec stereo system. That's what it was back then, bro. The
yeah.
stereo system.
Nah, hard out.
And
I feel you, though. Feel you because I was on the same, but with the vinyls. That's why I love all my vinyls, bro. Like
exactly.
listen to music like through that. But like growing up on like that rich amount of history of hip hop, right? Like what a dope era to come up on. Like that would have like been a huge amount of influence on you, right?
Oh, big time, big time. And it was so cool. And back in my day, it was so cool to like because we had tape decks, right? So we would well, I would sneakily record it off my auntie's CDs. And she didn't know, bro. I used to sneak into her room because she'd say, "Don't touch my stereo,"
Got
not
you.
how to touch it. But I went in there with my little tape deck, recorded it, took it out, and I had it on tape, and that was me like on my Walkman. Had Tupac and Biggie playing, and yeah, it was just a good time to grow up with hip hop music and being exposed to it at that time in the 90s.
Because like back then, like how old were you like back then? Not to like kind of like ask how old you are, G, but like is it kind of like 'cause I think like when I was like growing up, like I was kind of because I'm 30 now, like back when I was like really got into hip hop, it was like Get Rich or Die Trying for me, like 50 Cent. Like
Mm,
that
mm.
was around that time when I was about like 10. 12. So
Yeah, yeah. When I first started listening to it, I was about freaking six, bro,
got
6 or 7. Because that's yeah. I'm not far off from you, bro. I'm 32 now. So yeah, when Puck was popping off, it was about 96. Yeah, I was about
got
seven
you.
at the time. So I got hip hop at a really early age.
Hard out. And like
Yeah.
when did you actually like start like kind of like picking up what actually what came first for you, bro? Was it like getting interested in just like writing down raps, or was it actually starting making music like in any shape or form like throughout like you growing up? Like what came first?
Producing came first. So going back to high school, this was my I was 15. What's that? Fifth form? Is it fifth form?
Yeah, around
Third
that.
year at high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I was at Church College in Hamilton, and music was one of my subjects, and we had an assessment to create a song, create a composition, and I don't know what it was. So at Church College, instead of saying Mr. and Mrs., we would say brother and sister. That's how we address our teachers.
Oh,
So
okay.
I had a teacher. Yeah, it's a religious way of calling
Got
them.
you.
So my music teacher's name was Brother Martel, and I always like telling the story because this is where I got the spark. I remember him saying, "Why don't you put a song together, put a rap together, or create a track?" And I was like, "Brother Martel, how do I do that?" And he goes, "Come, I'll show you something." He goes, "Come, I'll show you something." And in the little, so you have your private rooms with the drums and the pianos.
Yeah, yep.
You had your little, yep. So we had one room with just drums, piano, had everything. And he went into the cupboard and pulled out this machine, and I was like, "What the heck is that?" And he goes, "It's a 4-track." Those who know will know. The
Yeah,
4-track machine had 4 channels.
got you.
And
Classic.
and he said, yeah, yeah, and he said, "You got 4 channels, make it work. You can do something on each channel." And so that's what really intrigued me. I was like, "Oh, okay." And so I had the drum machine, this classic old school drum machine, and just did a boom, 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 boom,
So
boom, boom, boom. Just had that on looped that for about 2.5 minutes, chucked it on track 1, and that just put the drum track in. Once that finished, jumped onto a second track of the 4. Did a guitaring. Actually, I've got a guitar right here. I still remember how to do it too. On the second track, I did some, I think it goes like this. I can remember. It was like yeah, that far. I still remember that
far
crazily.
that's incredible, bro. Honestly.
And so just imagine that on the boom, 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 boom. And so those two are running simultaneously. I
Yep.
had 2 more tracks left, and there was another chick in my class, and so I approached her and I was like, "Hey, do you reckon you could sing over it, sing a chorus?"
So
And she was like, "Yeah, no, I'll do that for you." And so we did that on the track, and then on the other one, I did like a rap on it. And yeah, that's the story behind that. And I think that's where I got the realization that holy shit, I'm actually good at this. I'm actually good at putting stuff together.
that's cool, bro. That's a pretty awesome story as well. And even at an earlier age, like just the nature of actually getting someone and actually producing them too, like all in one hit.
Yeah, and having the ability, I guess, to persuade someone to do it.
Yeah,
Like I didn't even know I could just walk up to someone and say, "Hey, can you do this?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, yeah, I'll do that." So even in that, the ability to be able to get people to want to do something, that's a skill in itself as well, because they're entrusting you to put their name
yeah,
or their association to what you're doing,
hard out.
and they, yeah. So there was a bit of trust when collaborating, but that came natural with me. I've collaborated with so many people,
Yeah.
so many people.
And like
Yeah.
after you did that first track, like were you just addicted to it? Like you were just like, oh, holy, this is what I wanna really be doing? Like from like
Yeah,
just
well,
a
at the time, yeah, at the time I lived in Hamilton. I think what really kicked it in for me is I moved to Papatoetoe the next year because my mum and dad lived in South Auckland, and South Auckland's very was heavy hip hop. So I think being surrounded by it really reinforced me to want to do it more. So like
got
I'd walk up Hunters Plazas, and this is when Dawn Raid was still visible. They were still you
still
could
the
still
thing.
see
Yep.
everything. Yeah. Their record label was next to Hunters Plaza, their barbershop. So I'm exposed to. I'm seeing it going to Hunters, and then in the back of my mind, I'm like, man, I want to still do that,
Got
like
you.
what I did at high school.
And like
Yeah.
for context, was that like Dawn Raid around like Hook It Up, like tour kind of era, like Scribe Crusader, Miracle, White
Yeah,
Sunday? Was that around that time?
at their
Yeah.
peak, but
Yeah.
because I literally grew up around it, I think that kind of immersed the hip hop into me as well, because they were doing big things, man, and you know they were the hip hop the heights of hip hop in that at that time.
Hard
And I
out.
used to see Miracle and all that walking out, and I was a nobody. I was just on the street, nobody observing at the time, just a young cat. They wouldn't have known who I was, but I think that's the power of music is that you never know who you're inspiring.
Exactly,
And you
bro.
don't know who's around you. And then 10 years later, they come out of nowhere and it's like, oh, I remember Envioso doing this or anyone. So that's what hip hop did for me, is I was watching it as a
Yeah.
kid and getting inspired by it.
Oh, that's fire. So super fire stories, eh? Like, you're totally right. Like, music, like, just transcends like sound. Like, it's beyond sound. It's just in terms of just direct influence, in terms of what
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
actually see, and like being able to be around that time, around when Dawn Ray was like at its kind of height. Like, that's a huge amount of inspiration for you as well, right? So,
yeah, man, big time. And yeah, like I was saying, moving to Papatoetoe to South Auckland, it was the hip hop hub, well, one of the main hubs of hip hop. So
yeah,
I was in the right place, soaking it
exactly.
all up. Yeah.
So it's fire. And like when did you actually like first started like kind of like actually start releasing sort of music? Because when did in terms of like your projects with Phulaphekt, that's kind of in recent times, eh? Like in the last like 5 years that you've kind of like linked up.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I would say, just going back a bit, when I first started releasing music, would have been around 2011.
Got you.
Just my first sort of solo pathway.
This is my offering to the world sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did that around 2011. Um, you probably can see behind me, I've got 3 CDs. You probably
Yep.
kind of can see.
And I see, yeah.
So the first two are solo, and then the Phulaphekt that I Kaupapa Driven one. We've actually done two. I'm yet to get a hard copy printed. So yeah, I'm about 4 projects deep into it, and as well as I'm doing my beats on the side as well with 4 other artists.
All right. That's awesome.
So yeah, different channels.
Yeah. Hard out, bro. Like, and when was like when you started? So like what? Because I'm not too familiar with like your first like two projects, but what were they, and like how was the kind of process of from just doing individual tracks to actually putting together an album? Like that would have been a totally different experience, eh?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I looking back at it now, I think the sound was very experimental. The first 2 projects, I still was trying to find
Your
who I
sound.
am. I guess,
Yeah.
yeah, my sound, who I am, and it's very experimental. Like I explore the whole spectrum. You know, I'm not just a trapper. I like to explore. I'm quite
Yep.
explorative in the sound. Like I'll give a R&B track a go, or I'll do some gangster shit. I'll give that a go,
Got
and
you.
whichever hits, that's kind of what guides me. That's kind of what the blueprint I've used
Got you.
is. Yeah, I'd put out it's kind of marketing in a way. I'll throw out different styles and then just see which one the audience bites, and then I'll kind of continue that pathway until I need to pivot. But
So
yeah,
you
I'm very changeable. I don't really stick to one style. I like to be like an eclectic type of artist.
Which kind of dope in itself in terms of like harnessing your skills, whether on the mic or as a producer, being able to kind of work with so many different people in so many different styles, rather than just pigeonholing yourself into one
Yeah, man.
particular
And
sound.
I've got this thirst for learning and yeah, learning off other people as well. So I think that's that curiosity, that hunger to learn so much more, and realizing I actually don't know as much as I think I know, and that's that continuation of learning,
Hard out,
which I would do for any artist, and they will know is that it's a never ending learning process.
100%.
Music is never ending. Yeah.
And it's like, regardless if you're an artist or producer or just whether you're in business or if you're not in business or just at school or whatever, like it's always a continuous building, or you're collecting Lego bricks, so to speak, and you're constantly building that wall or that castle or whatever you're wanting to do.
Yeah, man, I like that. I like the Lego. I was more of a Connects man myself, so
Yeah,
I'd say I love
got you.
Connects. You know Connects, right?
Yeah, I
You
know
remember
Connects,
Connects?
bro. Yeah, I remember Connects, bro. Those big Ferris wheels, eh?
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
seeing
And
them
there
in
was,
stores.
so
Like,
Lego was more blocky. Connects was more like clicky. Yeah, it was kind of
yeah, bro.
different type of Lego. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Nah, I remember that. Like, I haven't heard the word connects or the brand connects in
I
a
know,
long
man.
time. But
There you
nah,
go.
that's kind of throwing me back, bro. Like, it's definitely like those who know connects know.
Yeah, yeah.
That's fire, bro. Like, um, so like in terms of particularly in terms of like Kaupapa like driven, like how did your relationship with Phulaphekt come into it? Was that someone like you had known for a while, like in terms of going from your two solos into those two projects and a third on the way, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah. Third on the way. So yeah, shout out to the both Phulaphekt. He also has something coming out very soon as well.
oh,
He's got
dope.
his own Backstreet masterpiece that's coming out end of October. So yeah, it's gonna be fire. He's dope. He's dope. So yeah, back to how we met. So he was with a crew from up in Whangarei called Coastal ENT, and I was doing the self-sufficient thing. So this going back to when we were still a crew, self-sufficient, and we did a thing. We did a team-to-team collaboration. It was actually like a versus, think like Street Fighter, their crew
Uh,
fighting our crew, but in a hip hop battle type
yeah, yeah, get you.
thing. Yeah, we played each other off, so we all fought each other, and I fought Phulaphekt, and we came with our bars. You know, came heavy, and he beat me in that particular showdown. But I think that led to us working together. We realized how much we had in common. We're still good mates to this day. We've
Yeah,
done 2 Kaupapa Drivens, few videos,
it's
even
on.
gigs. Yeah, we've done heaps together. So and he's one of my best mates in the music game. So
That's awesome, eh?
yeah,
Like to be able to like
yeah,
be in the music industry and not only like develop a friendship with someone else, but like a friendship and a partnership in the music thing. That's
yeah.
pretty rare in itself, eh? Like,
Yeah, and we share the same passion for
yeah.
something, which is makes the friendship even more special because he loves hip hop just as much
Oh,
as I do as well, and he's got fire, man.
yeah.
I'm sure you'll speak to him soon, but man, he got talent too, bro. A
Oh,
lot
hard,
of it.
bro. I've seen like a lot of his
Yeah,
recent clips on the gram, bro. Like, and he's just spazzing. Like,
yeah, yeah,
it's just was super cool. Like, kind of like similar how like you kind of be spazzing on the beats. Like he's been spazzing with those bars in the recent like videos as well. Like, and honestly, like from 59 seconds, I think in the first week or two, like a couple of your tracks were like in kind of like the first 2 weeks. Like, I think like just come through and like Pakana, like around that, whether they're on the third album, but that Pakana track far out, bro. Like that's fire. Like, I mean, when I heard the clip of that and I was just spinning it around, like I was like, bro, when is that coming out?
thank you, bro. Yeah, like if you've heard Kaupapa Driven 1 and 2, they're quite what's the word? Classy, I guess classy. Um, presentable type
Yeah.
tracks. And I told the bro Phulaphekt, I was like, bro, for our third one, bro, and this was just me putting my vision into play. I was like, for the third one, bro, let's just go fire. Let's just go Tumatoenga. Let's go God of War. Let's bring that energy. Let's show New Zealand if we're representing Ngāpuhi,
Yep.
there's a reputation there that's connected to it. Ngāpuhi was known as the tribal freaking fearless tribal people. You go back into history, so that was something I wanted to acknowledge through pakanga, which is acknowledging Honeke and Kawati, who were chiefs from up the north. And yeah, their stories were just compelling to me. So I'm trying to bring that story back through hip hop.
Got you.
A bit of story.
And for the first two, like Kaupapa Drivens, like there were sprinkles of that throughout it, right? Like tracks like Kingmaker and a few of the other ones as well. But like, are you saying like this new one, it's like kind of like really putting all your cards in to that particular message?
Yeah, or just coming at it like war. Like I'm being 100% coming at it in a war angle and all or nothing,
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Envioso. I'm from the Ngāpuhi, and I'm here to take the crown. I'm here to take it all. And it just hands in,
It's on.
and just coming with the fire, bro.
That's mean, bro. Honestly, and it definitely with that Pakana track, like far out, that's a statement in itself. It's like because that means war, Māori, like.
Yeah, man. Yeah, war, battle.
Hard. So like that's like goes without saying. Like that's just the vibe on that track's like unreal. So I'm looking forward to like that fully coming out for a lot of other people's ears. But far out, bro. That's mean. And like we was actually like, going through like those like Kaupapa Driven albums. There was like one track that kind of stood out to me, bro. It was like "Give Me the Night" track on the second one. And like when I listened to it, bro, like it has like a mean as like R&B vibe. But then when I started beyond listening to like kind of the instrumentation of it, listen to the lyrics, far out, it's clever, bro, because it's like just referencing like all these dope ass like songs from like Drake Controller, No Diggity, like Ninja Mystic. It's like far out, bro. It's mean.
Yeah, man. That was actually credit to Phulaphekt.
Yeah.
So he put that together. He came up with that cleverness of putting tracks together in a montage, right? It's like a collection of bits and pieces of songs, but telling a story with it, and it was genius. It's genius, bro. So yeah, he put that together for the Kaupapa Driven too.
Yeah, because I listened. Yeah, because I listened to that and I was like, far out, bro. I don't think I've ever like heard like a song like that, like for like if not from recent memory, bro. So that's just far out. If that's like any of the tracks that you've released, definitely on those first two is an indication for the number 3, far out. That's on. And like outside of that, like that collaboration album, like you've got your own album coming out next year as well, eh? Like.
Yeah, man. So I'm quietly working on a solo release, and it's been almost a decade since I've released a solo release. So I'm doing it for the sake of just letting people know, hey, I'm still here. I'm still doing this. Yep. I haven't gone nowhere. And just for the fans, I know I've had people that loved my last tracks I did years ago, last CDs I did years ago. So yeah, for me, it's just something I want to put out. However, my heart's with production and beat making. That's where I will stay. So yeah, it's a release for the love. It's for the love. Let people know, hey, thanks for riding with me 10 years ago. I'm still doing it.
Yeah, it's fire, bro. Because that's what you kind of beat me to it. I was going to ask you that, like, which one you prefer, like, being on the mic or behind it, like, and like, what is it about, like, being like in the producer game, like, that's rewarding to you? Like, what is it that makes you feel home in that space?
I think it's the people that I get to work with. That's the most exciting part, and being able to use my experience and my confidence to help another on their journey. So yeah, seeing others shine, to be honest, bro, like I was telling you earlier, I've made beats for so many artists, Phulaphekt, Mr. K heaps, man. Like I've got a track with Mr. K and Mareko on one of my beats.
Yeah.
So many, gems, hidden gems
Oh,
out there that I've had the opportunity to
Mister.
do work with. So
Is that Misty K
uh,
Mariko joint? That's off her new tape as well, eh? Like,
yeah, man, her
yeah,
Mel's versus Mr. K. So and these are like hidden gems. People would
yeah,
be like, "Oh, I didn't know you had your hands on that." So
that's on.
there's so many stories I haven't even told you that I can't think of, but I've had so many opportunities and been blessed. And yeah, to answer your question, producing and beat making will be the long thing for me. That's where I want to do the rest of my run.
Got you. Yep.
But still open to do collaborations here and there. I still enjoy
Yeah.
the artist getting up and getting on the mic and performing as well. But yeah, my love has always been producing. As I was telling you back in
Yeah.
high school, 4-track. I think that's full circle for me. That's where I want to
Hard out, bro.
keep working.
Yeah. Definitely hear it from that first, like, the first 4-track story in terms of like something that stood out to me, bro. Is like just being able to kind of like bring someone in to your world and then kind of produce them, and that they're having that from the very beginning, and then something that you hold true to you, and it's something to value as well, eh? Like in terms of like building with different artists or who may not actually know what their sound is, but you're helping them curate it. Like,
Yeah, it's I think it's a trust thing. They entrusting me to be vulnerable, to open up, to be themselves, not feel judged, not feel criticized. All those things that would uh, regress the creation, I guess.
yeah, or make them
I
freeze and not, yeah,
Yeah. I think with me, if you spend 5 minutes with me in a room, I probably will set you on fire. Like I've got that ability to just like make people comfortable and they be
yeah, bro,
themselves and express themselves
yeah,
because they we're kind of like mirrors in a way, right? You mirror what you see, and so
hard
I
up.
think I think I'm grateful to have that ability to work with people and bring the best out of them.
Yep.
I think that's a skill. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely an innate skill.
Yeah, it's definitely a skill, but it's definitely a strength of just overall,
Mm.
like the energy that you bring, like enables you to be able to be awesome at creating things or building those relationships there. Like, and like over the last like 10 years, like what have been some like, if you were to kind of like retrospectively look back, bro, like what were like times that you're like personal milestones that you're like, whoa, holy, from a production standpoint, but you're like, oh, wow, okay, this is like a bit of self fulfillment, bro. Like, what were those sort of stories?
Oh man, quite a lot to be honest. I'm not sure where to start. I'd say so far the Kaupapa Driven series 1 and 2.
Yep.
I think that would be something that makes me super proud, especially given that the working relationship me and Phulaphekt had. It just worked, bro. We didn't have too many run-ins. Everything just flowed. We brought in people to help us because I had to put my artist hat on. So I even had relationships with. I had a brother by the name of Sasai who came in. He recorded our Kaupapa Driven 2, so that allowed us to just be artists and to work on creativity. And that was all done on zero budget, bro. So I'm super proud of that. I was
Yeah,
so
hard.
resourceful. Like, bro, the fact that I've achieved so much, I think this is part of my story. I've achieved so much with no help, no funding. Not that I couldn't have gotten funding, but I've done it in such an independent way that I hope it inspires people that think that they need things to do things. You don't, man. You just need
Yeah.
the desire and the hunger to want to make it happen, and you'll find a way to make it happen.
Hard.
Now, you don't need a flash studio in Auckland
Nah.
Central to make a fire album. Shit's changed now, bro. Like, you
Oh,
don't
bro.
need that.
Oh, and we know that from the last 10 years alone, right? Like,
Mm.
you just necessarily need to just a laptop.
Yeah, man.
You know, you can do that with a net rather than the big on like mixing boards and all that sort of stuff. Like the game's changed. Like
Big time. The game's changing. So, yeah, I think my journey is testament of that. I've never let anything stop me from doing something. If I wanted to record a song, okay, how do I record a song? What do I need to get to record a song? What programs do I need to record a song? What do I need to make sure so the birds are not in the song because I don't want birds in my song? Well, things like that.
yep,
That's the process that goes in my mind. Okay, how do I get there? How do I start it? How do I finish it? So
got
it's
you.
that constant moving questions that helped me to get to this point, even talking to
Yeah,
you.
hard. And it's even like what you're saying before, and like how I said, whether it's like Lego bricks or connects, like you're putting yourself fully into it to learn and build. I mean, when you get to like a Kaupapa Driven 3, you can look back to what you've done over the last 10 years. Like, okay, sweet, cool. I know exactly what we want to do. It's wartime. It's battle time. Like, it's
That's
fire.
right, man. Yeah,
It's,
one thing that's key is just making sure you have a good foundation.
yep,
Build your house on rock, not on sand. It's a classic saying,
yep,
like make sure you have a solid foundation. And what I mean by that is, it's cool to be creative, but make sure that the other things are in check. Your mental, your health,
yep,
your family. I think that goes without saying, and that those are things that I also work on as well, so that the whole thing is working together.
yep.
Yeah, everything works together. I like to call it it's got its own name, Te Whare Tapawhā, which is mind, body, soul, and family.
Yep.
All those things work together. If one of them falls out of place, then the rest will sort of swivel
Exactly.
and
Yeah, it's
not
like
be in place.
it's like a chair with like one leg that's a bit wonky, right? It's not going to be very
Yeah, man.
comfortable, you know.
Yeah, or
All
four
right.
pillars, right? Four pillars that
Yep.
hold.
Hard out. All right,
Yeah,
man.
so I can say at this point in my life, everything's just going well. But challenges always come. I'm always happy for a challenge to come my way because that's where you learn and that's where your experience comes to play. And you can use your martial arts that you've learned through your experience.
All right, it's like some Wu-Tang Clan like 6 chamber stuff, like full
Yeah,
on,
mate.
bro. That's awesome. And like one thing that I wanted to talk to you about, like you mentioned Misty K and also I don't know if you mentioned Tali Joy, but like I found them up through 59 seconds, but also like getting to hear their stories a little bit more with your artist and producer chats. And that's super cool. Like beyond just wanting to kind of like what actually inspired you to actually like start doing that? Like because that's something that's not only is it your experience in the last 10 years making music, whether it's on from a beat perspective or from on the mic, but it's another element of the wider array of like hip hop culture or just music culture in this country. So how's that been?
Yeah, man, it's awesome. I just to be honest, it started from boredom and lockdown.
Yeah, yeah. Those are the
That was the
things.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But as I started getting into it, I realized, holy heck, this is more than just a chat. This is culture. This is culture building, and I'm all for that. I love to do my part to build the culture, just like what you're doing right now. We're all contributing now. I feel like there's this ecosystem
Yep.
of what we're doing right now, and there's so many parts to it, and so I'm just happy to do my part and help other musicians get their voice, get their
Yep.
time in the spotlight. And I'm happy to be that guy that gets the spotlight and all right, your
Yeah.
turn. What's your story? Tell us what you're about. What inspires you?
Yeah, bro.
And in return, it inspires me. So there's actually like a cause and effect
Oh,
from me interviewing.
100%, bro. I feel you on that one. Like, and that's kind of like part of like, if you like kind of do it for, I definitely do it for that from a spotlight perspective, but just the amount of vibes that you get and the energy that you get from one another as well. Like, and the insights that you can learn and pass on and put into different
Mm,
areas. Like, just super cool. Like, because like definitely those like chats is, it's funny how things come from boredom, eh? Like great things can sometimes come from boredom because you're like far out. I
yeah,
need to
yeah.
do something like.
that's all it was, bro. It's like, okay, how can I be productive with this time? I ain't gonna just sit on this couch and watch Netflix. What can I do? And surely I can do something. And yeah, producer and artist came to life. And yeah, it's actually leading me places. I'm interviewing someone next week, a singer from Canada. So now I'm going
Oof.
abroad.
Whoa,
Yeah.
international up in this.
10 episode
Envioso.
in, and I'm 10 episode in, and I've gone abroad. So
That's dope.
I hope that's cool. Like you can start something and
Yeah, bro.
going straight away. You can opportunities take you somewhere else.
That's fire. And is that like for majority of the producer artist chats, are those people that you've actually built with, like and actually work with, or are they just kind of like people that you've kind of along the way connected with? Not necessarily
Yeah,
on
yeah,
a song. Yeah.
along the way. It's a small world in New Zealand. Everyone's bumped into everyone at some point. So yeah, for the most part, I've bumped in along the way. Some of them has just been through the socials and the networking. Some come from actually your way, the 59 seconds. So had a couple come from there. Tali
That's cool.
Joy, Keisha. So
Oof.
yeah, like we're both doing things for each other, bro, and for the culture, which is awesome.
Yeah, and it's I think that's the cool thing, particularly just one thing that I loved about like I love about 59 seconds is just the amount of talent, bro. Like it's crazy.
Oh, great. That's too
Like
crazy, man.
and it's not like it's new news. Like we know like we've got some talented individuals on a music level here, but just being able to see like people grow and from that very small, not infant stage, but you know what I mean, like their first track and being so
Mm.
hype about that and seeing them progress. That's cool,
Yeah,
you
man.
know.
You must be proud of what you're doing too, because you're providing a platform and giving artists a little, a time for their music or a platform for their music. And not only that, you get to see their growth as an artist. So you're there along the way, brother, and that must be special for you to see all these different artists doing their thing.
Well, it's cool, bro, because it's like particularly even like as you said, like us like leading to us having a chat here, like from like week one all the way till like when you started doing the producer artist chats to now, like it's kind of that evolution of oh wow, sweet. Just super cool, bro. Like it's like as you say, like it's inspiring, like the amount of energy that you can get from just creativity, whether it's other people's or just observing, you know.
Mm.
It's super cool, bro. Like in one thing, just in terms of like self-sufficient, bro, because you were saying it's been like a crew for like since like what 2014, 2015. Like, is it is the crew kind of still intact, like, or was it kind of you just heating it up at the moment in terms of like what's going on with like self-sufficient? You know,
Yeah,
or
man.
even
So
just talk about the whole story of it, like because that's probably been pivotal to a lot of what you've done, eh?
yeah, so as of today, there's myself and that 378 boy, another artist who I've had an opportunity to make beats for as well, and we've done songs together. I'd say me and him are the active ones of the self-sufficient movement. Yeah, most of the people that were there have kind of gone their own way, but are still there in a sense. They're still
Yeah,
watching, still
yeah, still
still there.
family,
But
yeah,
in terms of,
yeah,
yeah, man, still family, and it never changes. But in terms of who's still pushing, yeah, myself. I mean, you couldn't stop me if you tried. I'm just a pusher by nature, man. I just
yeah,
push,
hard,
push, push. Yeah, and 378 boy, Champ Kingdom. He was in the mix for a little while. He's still going. He's still doing his own thing. He's with Keep It Real Music, that record label.
yep,
He's doing his thing there. I still keep in touch with him. The Bro Impact, who started it all, he's doing his gamer thing at the moment. So he's right into the
got you.
gaming world. So he spends. I haven't caught up with him in a while, but last I've seen he's doing that the gaming thing. He does that on the Facebook self sufficient. So that's he's still in the self sufficient thing,
Yep.
but more the gaming side of things. So it's
Yeah.
self sufficient. It's evolved from just a hip hop crew.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of turned into a brand now. It's actually become a brand of a network brand of sorts. You know, like hip hop music. I do my beats on it. It's just
Yeah,
become a brand of everything hip hop and everything sort of entertainment.
that's fire, bro. Now,
Yeah, so that's
and
what it
that,
is now. It's
hard.
sort of changed.
That's cool because like beyond like being a hip hop crew, like my understanding is like it's all in terms of like giving youth, particularly in your area, those opportunities to shine, whether it's like through like music or otherwise, eh? And it's kind of cool that, as you said, as things evolve and things get bigger, things change.
Yeah. So I'd say like for our Instagram, for example, I'm not sure what your first thoughts on it, but in terms of how I've laid it up, I would imagine people see it as like a hub. It's like a musical type hub, entertainment. I'm sure entertainment comes to mind.
Yep,
Hip hop music
100%.
comes to mind.
Yep.
I also channel my beats through it. So yeah, it's kind of become a brand, an
Yeah,
umbrella
bro.
brand. And I've kind of cleverly, because I'm business minded. That's what I do for my bread and butter,
Got you.
business sales. And so I've kind of implemented that in the channel, where it's become an umbrella of different things. Now the producer and artist chats in the mix,
Yeah,
and
that's
then
cool.
just casual, funny shit, and just having fun on social,
Yeah, bro.
all that. Yeah.
Well, that's dope. That's super cool, bro. And that was honestly like when I was looking at like not only the stuff that you were just doing 59 seconds, but anyone who like is listening to this and watching it, this like head out to self sufficient on Instagram because you'll definitely see the amount of like volume of stuff that's on there from beats. And if you're artists out there and keen on collaborating, like definitely hit it up because bro, like the beats are just cool. It's definitely my sound, like from
Thank you,
like
bro.
just like my ear, like and how you like start off the conversation of those early influences as well. All the sort of 90s, you can definitely hear a little bit sort of like influence in there, eh? Like,
Yeah. I also like, if we can talk on the beat side, like that side of my journey, making beats, it's changed a lot since when I
yeah,
first started. I've I'm trying to be more with the sound, trying to be more what's the word? Cultured, but cultured as in like, for example, I listen to mariachi guitaring some days, or
got you.
another day I might be listening to just Asian, Chinese music or Japanese music, and then I'm somehow linking that to a beat,
Yeah,
and that's what I'm doing at the moment. Like my last beat I made is very like violin-y concerto, very Mozart, and in my head I could hear like, shit, what if I chuck some 808s and a drum trap over there? Imagine like the vibe switch,
yeah,
and it came off. It came off, and I was like, that's what I was hearing.
that's
That's what I
cool.
was hearing.
And that's kind of like what you can even like from like a beat perspective, like seeing how you package it up just purely in one of those posts. It isn't just the music, it's even the titles that you give beats. Like I don't necessarily know like many producers that name every single one of their beats necessarily, or even give album art
Yeah,
or covers to it, but it kind of sets the scene and it makes sense from what you're saying, bro. Like particularly like certain ones like I mean like the Planet Namek one stood out for me, or one that's like a Yu-Gi-Oh trap card. It made
yeah,
sense when you look at the visual and you listen to the beat and you're like, oh yeah, I get you. Like,
yeah. And I think with those types of titles, and what I was doing there is just linking it to my childhood as well. Planet Namek, Dragon Ball Z,
yeah, hard.
and so there was a method in that, and why I did that. It's trying to connect with people and go, hey, I know Planet Namek, that's Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah,
Okay, you must be that generation. You must be one of those kids. So I'm trying to tell a story through my beats as well.
nah, that's
So
super
I'm forever
powerful.
telling stories, forever telling stories, bro.
Oh, that's super powerful, bro. Like it was that honestly, bro. It's always like when you seen stuff through 59 seconds, it's like I just love the names. Like
Yeah.
it just like paints a picture. Like super dope, bro. Like that's super cool. But one thing that I was gonna ask you, bro, is in terms of like outside of like the album um for next year and Kaupapa Driven 3, like what else is kind of on the horizon, or like what are you kind of in your like aspirations, bro? Like, because sometimes it's that power manifestation, like putting stuff out there, and that you definitely like from understanding your journey. If you say you're gonna do something, you're gonna do it, like, and you're gonna do it like independently, and you're gonna drive to get there. Like, what's on the horizon, bro?
Yeah, man, I think for me, yeah, get Kaupapa Driven 3 smashed out, get the solo album out, uh, and just keep doing the beats. So I still want to make a big impact on my beats and get to a point where I've almost got a beat to nearly every artist in New Zealand.
So
That's quite an ambitious goal. I can
it's a
do it.
goal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a goal. So I want to be that. I want to be that renowned, and I want to be that guy. I want to be on a Dr. Dre, Timberland status.
So,
At least on the beats, anyway. Whether or not to hit is up to the artist. But
yeah.
in terms of the beat, I want to be that guy. So I want to just keep working there, keep educating myself, keep upgrading my gear. I don't have in terms of the quality of gear, I don't have the like most premium gear, but I've got gear that does the job. So I'll just keep
Yeah, got you.
grinding away, keep upgrading, keep educating myself. What can I do to improve the sound? Work with other people, do some workshops, get with other producers. Probably another good thing as well. Step out of my bubble.
Yep.
Go and see what other producers do.
Kind of learn from them and kind of like set up kind of, yeah. It's kind of, there's a lot of it, and it's probably because you're based up in Auckland at the moment, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a lot of like, whether it's big city and a lot of music kind of happening up here, but there's always workshops around, like, and even like particularly from what I've been seeing, like a lot of stuff through KFM, and there's navigator workshops as well. Like there's a lot of stuff that's been happening with that. So it's just cool to see that happening as well, like in the scene.
Yeah,
It's
man, for
fire.
sure. Sure. Yeah, just keep smashing out the beats. Keep working with new artists, and also keep listening to music. That's
Yeah.
probably the biggest thing. Keep
Yeah.
listening to. I like discovering new music. I like to listen to new artists because yeah, continuation of learning and that always sparks a beat or always sparks an idea of like,
Yeah.
oh shit, I could do something here. There's something here. So
Ah,
that's that's the key too. Listening a lot
yep.
helps
Hard,
me
bro.
to do what I do.
Because what have you been listening to at the moment? Like that's kind of a good segue as well, because it's what I was going to ask. Like, what is in like Envioso's like heavy rotation? Like whether
Ooh,
it's like
and
producers
yeah,
or artists. Like,
at the moment I'm still on the Donda, so I'm still
yo,
I'm like the biggest fan of Kanye. Like I've been the biggest fan since day one. So
yeah,
I'm still vibing with Kanye's album Donda, and that's
yeah,
to me personally as an inspiration, as a masterpiece. The way he's put it all together, that's the Kanye I love. That's the Kanye I love, and I know he's kind of changed throughout the years
yeah, yeah,
and,
yeah.
and, and been through his journey, and I still love him no matter what. And the Donda album was just transcending. It was just a whole new level of vibes. I liked how he packaged the spiritual side into his music, the way he puts his instrumentations down. It's just totally dope. So yeah, I've still got Kanye on my rotation.
That's
Still
cool.
listening to his album.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of. I do like the album. Like I've had to like go back to it quite a lot of times. Like I'm always, I don't know if you're the same, but like sometimes I have an initial listen when it comes out, but then I have to kind of give it a rest, or just then go back go back into it with like a kind of a nice clean pair of ears. And one thing I like is just the rollout. Like I like the fact that he changes stuff. I think that's kind of cool. Like or just change like adapting it in a real live environment. That's pretty dope from an artist, right?
Yeah, yeah, man, and he's got something in there for everyone. Like he's got tracks that are more poppy sounding, rocky sounding, hip hop sounding. So he's got this array of music that just covers nearly everything, which is amazing. That's not many can do that.
Hard out. And like who are
Yeah.
you kind of like vibing from like locally, bro? Because like definitely like there's from like this year, there's been like a lot of activity in the scene. Like, has there been any sort of like artists that you've kind of been listening to? Like, have you listened to the new like Diggy Dupe Panthers soundtrack album? Like, have you had a chance to like check that one out?
To be honest, no. I've seen it though. I've seen it
Yeah,
through the socials, but I haven't actually had a chance to listen to any of it.
yeah, yeah. It's fire, bro. Like, this is super cool. Like, do you find like there's like is there any particular like artist like in the country that kind of you kind of like have on heavy rotation? Like, or was it kind of like quite a lot like more international sort of bigger sounding artists?
Yeah, I guess with my like for as long as I've been doing music, I'm more on the global listening, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah,
Nothing against our local scene. You know, it's all love. It's all love. But in terms of what's keeping me stimulated and inspired,
yeah,
yeah,
got
I
you.
tend to go more for the global, for your Kanye's. I still like listening to Rick Ross, Kanye, J Cole. J Cole's dope.
Yeah, off season.
Yep, Drake just dropped his album not so long ago, the Certified Lover Boy, and word is Kendrick Lamar's will have something coming soon. So we
Yeah,
will be
bro,
blessed. You know? He's got something. He's got something coming up very shortly, and you know he's going to come with the
yeah,
bars, and it's
hundred
going to be
percent.
strong.
I think a lot of
Yeah,
people are waiting for that K dot album, man. Like, I mean, it's just kind of went in order of kind of expectations in a way. Like, kind of went J Cole, Drake. I mean, let's see if Kendrick comes at the end of the year. Like,
yeah. I think lyrically he's going to blow everyone out the park, bro.
yeah, it's like it's hard. Like, and like part and if we're just gonna get on like hip hop nerdy chat, like it's hard. Like sometimes you kind of like wonder where he's gonna go, and you're like, oh, is it gonna? I like listened to Untitled, Unmastered like a couple of nights ago. Just that EP in between Pimp a Butterfly and Damn, and I was like, far out, that's just crazy. Like I was like, far out, like what's he gonna do? But that's just the
Yeah,
beauty
yeah,
of being a fan, hey? Like,
yeah. But man, I'm expecting good things. Like especially now, especially with Kanye's dropped something and then Drake's dropped something. Yeah, I'd like to see how Kendrick's release will do. You know, amongst all these great artists that have already dropped things.
bro, oh, super cool. But honestly, bro, like, I just want to say, like, massive shout out to you, bro. Like, as we kind of really touched on throughout it, like, other people's creativity is quite inspiring. So, like, being able to see like a lot of your work ethic, and like for me, like, just like hit you up, and like for everyone listening and watching this, like, this is the first time we've actually talked beyond like DMs and stuff. So it's just super cool just to like be able to link up off the bat. And honestly, bro, like as you said, like your energy, like it's kind of infectious in a way. Like you kind of bring the best out of people, or bring the energy to the table. So
Thank you, bro. And likewise to you, bro. I appreciate everything you're doing as well.
no,
Especially like for what you guys have done for my beats and giving it like to other artists. And that means
no,
heaps, bro. So thanks for that, you know,
no,
for
that's
exposing
super
my
cool.
beats because they're good beats and it's just
Yeah.
a matter of putting it to the right people that they might go, man, I can do this to that beat.
It's cool to like hear those stories as well, because that's kind of what the platform's all about, bro. Like really, like if anything, it's like the music version of LinkedIn in a way. Like it's just artists and just artists on it. It's no real like fans of, I mean, fans of each other, or opportunities to collab and see what's going on. That's kind of the nature of it, really. Just the opportunity to network with one another. So to hear that, bro, like it's cool stories for real.
Yeah, man. Nah, it's all love, bro. Shout out to 59 seconds.
Nah, shout out to you, Envioso. One thing we're gonna do just to like close it up, bro. Like, one thing we do with every single guest on Sort of Kiwi show is it is a New Zealand platform, so we have the opportunity to kind of like plug a New Zealand track, you know. So if you were to pick like a New Zealand track to ride out to, it could be anything. It could be one of your favorites. Like, what would it be? Like, it doesn't have to be any genre, bro. Just anything to ride out to.
A Kiwi song.
Yeah, bro.
Oh, Oh man, I'll have to go. David Dallas.
Oosh.
Uh,
What are we talking
um,
about here?
I get the feeling. I get the feeling.
Yo, dope.
Yeah, I get the feeling.
Awesome. There's a classic tune, eh? Like, far out. But honestly, bro, like, shout out to you, bro, and like, super stoked to have you on the platform, and just I'm just looking forward to seeing what you do next, and seeing real curious to see like these projects when they do drop, and any other future collaborations. Um, and anyone out there who's listening and watching, I definitely check out Envioso, because bro, it's got some heat out there, bro. So gonna ride out to David Dallas. I get the feeling. Shout out, bro. Honestly, thanks.
My pleasure, brother. Thank you for having me. Shout out to everyone that's watching. It's your boy, self-sufficient Envioso. Let's go.
Say it's true.